Good evening, everyone. We'll call the Town of Rome Board meeting for Tuesday, July 2nd at 5 p.m. to order. Roll call starting on my left, please.
Stevenson here.
Minter here.
Jumati here,
Cole here.
and Tom is excused. Okay. Certify the posting of the meeting.
I certify that on Friday, June 28th, 2024, the agenda for the Town of Rome Board meeting for Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024 was posted at the Rome Town Hall at 8:55 a.m., Quick Trip LLC at 9:15 a.m., Nakusa Port Edward State Bank at 9:20 a.m., and emailed to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune at 8:53 a.m.
Okay. Approve the agenda.
I move to approve today's agenda.
I'll second. Oh,
Not
go
you
ahead.
do it.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Evenson, second by Supervisor Cole to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizen comments? Do we have any orange cards? Okay. I'll just read. The board will also take comment from the public on agenda items as called by the chair, but not during citizen comment. Please note that once the board begins discussion on an agenda item, no further comment will be allowed from the public on that issue. No action contemplated except possible referral to a future agenda. Informational updates, meeting recaps, recent correspondence, current events, and announcements. I'm going to start this evening. I have one item here. This is a thank you to the town board from the 14 Mile Watershed Group for the generous sponsorship in support of the State of the Lakes event held on June 8th. And they said that they had attendance of approximately 240 property owners. And again, this came from Barb Hyred, their secretary, and they wanted to just, again, thank you for our generous support. The other thing we received this afternoon was a lovely little gift. It's a collage shadow box from the band shell dedication from the Adams County Chamber of Commerce and Tourism that was put together by Megan and Haley. And it has a portion of the ribbon from the ribbon cutting with the date and pictures of the band shell. So that was given to us this afternoon. She dropped that off. And then I just want to wish everybody a happy and blessed 4th of July. Be safe in your celebration, be safe on our lakes, and enjoy yourselves. And we hope everybody has a dry one. Also want to announce that we were going to have some items on the agenda for consideration, but we don't have that at this time, but they will be on future agendas. One item we had talked about as a board at the last meeting was a potential referendum for advisory for wake boats, but we found that due to the size of our population, contacted the WTA. Nick was doing some additional research for us, but it would still be considered advisory.
Yeah, so it has to do with some of the law changes that took place rather recently with doing away with a lot of the ability to have advisory referendums, except in very limited circumstances. This is not one of them. Then the question would come up if we agreed to bind ourselves, in a ordinance and sent that to referendum, and the answer is that that's not an allowed binding referendum, and it really equates to an advisory referendum that is not allowed. So we cannot do that. As I understand it, there's also a possible consideration for a referendum related to exceeding the levy limit. I can just report that we are working with Ellers, as we have in the past with exceeding levy limit situations, to put together a timeline and a proposal for you all to consider and choose if you would like to proceed in that way.
And that's in light of a vote that may be coming up, that's coming up this weekend at Tri-Lakes, and the request that was made at our annual meeting to exceed our levy limit. So we'll see what that brings in the future. So they had to take another vote based on the fact that because they are a taxing jurisdiction, they had to do different language and take that vote again. So we'll see how that turns out. So, if you would like to go next.
I have nothing except wishing everyone a very happy and safe 4th of July.
Okay?
I'll echo the happy and safe 4th of July, and please remember, if you are shooting off fireworks, keep in mind that it does potentially adversely affect some of our veterans and our pets. So please be respectful of your neighbors if you're one of those that like to see the booms go off.
I don't have anything except for an event calendar and what's going on. You can go to visitRomeWI.com, and for official town business, it's RomeWI.com.
Okay. Alrighty. All right. Discussion and possible action on the following items. Discussion and possible action, approval of the June 20th, 2024 meeting minutes.
Move to approve the meeting minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Evenson for the approval of the June 20, 2024 meeting minutes. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action, consideration of the Rome Town Center District Map Amendment from Mixed Commercial Light Industrial Subdistrict to Mixed Town Center Subdistrict for a 10-acre portion of the town-owned property within the Rome Town Center, described as follows: being part of parcel 030-01136-0501, located in part of the northwest quarter, and northeast quarter of Section 17, Town 20 North, Range 6 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin. Nick?
Alright, so I won't read my entire report to you. I think that was in your packet that was provided to the Plan Commission. Just a general note that this item did go before the Plan Commission at its June 11th meeting, where a public hearing was held, after which a recommendation came from the Plan Commission to reclassify this section of property from the sub-district of Mixed Commercial Light Industrial to Mixed Town Center. And so I believe the individual that wishes to purchase the property is here, so she could speak to that if she is recognized and wants to do that. Otherwise, I'm certainly happy to answer questions. I would just make one other general note as it relates to an agenda item this evening, that there was significant conversation about the idea that we should be looking at the entire town center from the standpoint of Sam Schultz's recommendations to the CDA at the previous meeting. And then I think there is a intention on exploring that at a later point on the agenda today.
Okay. And I will make reference again to a comment that Nick did state on this, and I will do it on the next item as well. It's a friendly reminder that everyone should note a public hearing for this item took place at the June 11th Plan Commission meeting in support and against this item, and comments were made, and this was completely vetted by the Plan Commissioners and approved. So those that do want to speak or for or against this item tonight will be recognized, but you will be limited and have 3 minutes to speak. And we won't be able to have a quasi-public hearing here again this evening. So if anybody does want to speak tonight, you will be recognized. But again, this was already vetted by the Plan Commission. Nick, did you want to add anything else? All right, Amy, I'll allow you to come up, introduce yourself, and if you had anything you wanted to add.
Hi.
Hi.
I don't know if I have anything to add. I think everyone here has
Seen your project?
Seen the project, seen the presentation. I'm hopeful that this passes and I can be part of your community. I think it will bring in a lot of people, add a lot of extra tourism just from the advertising that I'll be doing, just that type of thing. I'm not sure what else I need to say.
All right, did anybody here on the board have any questions for Amy regarding the project? Anybody on the board have a question for Amy?
I just have, maybe in the handout that you had today, it's different from what we got, but where it shows their dots.
Sure.
So this says 2 red dots, 2 white dots, blue dot. there aren't any red dots, so I'm wondering where the red dots are, which are the
Well,
first
and that's
two.
just an idea. They're not exactly placed right now. I won't know that until I actually get the zoning and
So I
the,
don't need it if
the
it's not
survey.
red on there. Okay,
You wanna
so
take-
basically, we're gonna start with two.
right,
And they'll be probably placed further in
here.
the back
okay.
corner. The red, I believe it's red.
Oh, so here
outline.
they are in red, okay.
Okay.
Now
Yep.
they're in red.
The red outline is basically the 10 acres, the blue was an extra
Yeah,
5
here's
that
some.
we're considering purchasing, to see how this goes maybe in the future.
Okay.
And also the board did only allow 6, I think there might be 7 on that.
The CDA, I believe, when we agreed to sell the property, and it was agreed by the town board to sell the property originally, Nick, you can confirm for me the agreement that she was allowed to build
Up to 6.
up to 6, initially 2, then 3, correct, within a certain amount of time? Yes, they are colored on this
Yeah,
one.
this one they're colored. I think the reason I was asking is that since you're starting with 2, and at the previous meeting when we asked about when it would progress to 3, 4, and the total of 6, you weren't sure, because it would depend on how the first 2 went, how this all,
It also really depends on when I can get this
right, how it would
purchased.
evolve.
Yeah, how I would get the road in, how timelines go for the infrastructure.
So would it make sense to have the 2 close together rather than
And
have
like, that was
the,
just a
this is
proposal.
just not exactly where they're gonna be?
Exactly, I
Okay.
need to go to the zoning committee and get all that with the setbacks, all of that lined up. That's just an idea.
Okay.
So that is a good point, just so everybody's aware. Right now, we're dealing with a reclassification of that sub-district.
Correct.
But there is an absolute process that has to be followed that would need to go through a site plan of operation for this project that is going to have, very clear details on exactly what that plan is.
Where they'll be placed. I think where I'm going with that is if you do 2 and then it's just not right, that we don't have 2 that are dividing or scattering that property out. And then the other question would be, and maybe it's not the right time for it, that if you would decide it's not working out, can you remove the container buildings, or how does that work? If it would turn out ever that the town had to buy this property back, or, you turn it back to the town, and you've got these 2 structures on there, are they removable, or what's the,
Everything's removable.
what's the
People move
process for
houses
that?
all the time, so.
Okay. Well, I don't know, I'm
Yep.
just
So
asking the
they will be-
question,
they will-
if
they
you do
will
it all the
be-
time or not, cause I thought it was the first time that you had done this with the container buildings.
Yes, yes, it is, for
Okay.
sure. But I'm
Okay.
saying any home can technically be moved.
Okay,
So these will be on pillars that are
Okay.
dug deep down. They will be connected to those pillars. There will be earth around the perimeter. They'll look beautiful. They'll be set aside with decking and pergolas and all of that. But if first, they could, I suppose, be removed.
okay.
I am gonna have containers that are built together.
Sure.
And I think you saw that
Fasten
presentation.
together.
So it would take some effort to take those off, but again, anything can be moved.
Okay.
Are there any questions regarding from the board regarding the amendment to the map?
I mean, in terms of the reclassification.
Yes. Thank you, Dan.
I would move to approve the reclassification as presented and approved by the planning commission, from mixed commercial light industrial to mixed town center sub-district for the parcel located in the Rome Town Center.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Evenson for the consideration of a Rome Town Center district map amendment from mixed commercial to light industrial sub-district to mixed town center sub-district for a 10-acre portion of town-owned property within the Rome Town Center. Any more discussion?
You said you would recognize?
Yes.
Am I able?
Yes. I'll give you 3 minutes.
Alright.
Your
Do you
name
mind?
and address, please?
I think there's should be a piece of paper up there.
Yes, if you can write it down.
I'll write it on my statement.
Is there one underneath there by chance?
I'll write it down afterwards.
That's fine.
Rick Petfalski, 364 Quiet Waters Trail. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I'm here to speak about the reconsideration for the town district map. I have no objection to the business being proposed. What I do question is the location of this business. The Rome Town Center has limited zoning which allows for mixed commercial and light industrial. Removing this and replacing with zoning that allows a resort or lodges is a mistake and short-sighted in my opinion. The town center needs to keep zoning that allows for mixed commercial and light industrial to remain viable long-term. Excuse me, I got something in my throat. This zoning is important to attracting family-sustaining jobs and careers. Rome cannot survive long-term unless it can attract a healthy base of local families with school-aged children. For that to happen, you need to have mixed commercial and light industrial zoning, and you need to do a better job of recruiting businesses that need that zoning. Without a larger base of full-time families living here, Rome's tourism-based industries will not have seasonal workers that is required to serve their customers. And while I question why the town is selling 10 acres of valuable property at a $40,000 discount under market for short-term rental businesses when the town currently has about 100 active licensed short-term rental businesses, I do not object to this type of business, just the location. Thought and planning went into the current plan for the town center, and it should take deliberate thought, planning, and input from the community before this board changes that plan. I know the term walkability has been thrown out many times, but if you look at the map of the whole town center, it's all walkable. Please take the time to study and gather more input before adopting this zoning change. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. One no. Okay. Item number 10, discussion and possible action. Consideration of a site plan of operation for Barnum Bay Beach and Marina LLC, doing business as the Lure Bar and Grill, to construct an outdoor event structure at 1735 Archer Lane, also described as Lot 1 of CSM 3590, located in part of Government Lot 2, Government Lot 3, in the southeast quarter, Section 28, Town 20 North, Range 05 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-00408-0010.
So similar comments to the last agenda item, with the additional note that at the Plan Commission meeting after the public hearing, there was a recommendation to approve the site plan of operation with a adoption of findings of fact that I believe you have in your packet. That findings of fact did state that a condition be placed on there that the orientation of the structure be rotated so that there's a solid wall to the north and east, and be verified by the building inspector before the permit is issued.
Okay. Again, I'll repeat, a friendly reminder. I would just like everyone to know there was a public hearing on this item that took place in full and at length at the June 11th Plan Commission meeting against and in support against of accessory building. Several inaccuracies were questioned and asked at length and vetted for about an hour by the Plan Commissioners. There were several comments noted and questioned, and conditions were set upon this accessory structure. Tonight's meeting will not be a quasi-public hearing for this structure as the board discusses this item. Thank you. Does the board have any, questions?
So looking at the updated map with the adjusted distances here, so so is there then, also a plan at some point, to have some vegetation to to shield or to put a vegetative barrier to where the residential houses are?
You're questioning towards the north and towards the east?
Yeah, north and east. I mean, to the west is water, so,
Correct. Yeah, we
that
don't
just
want
carries
to,
across the Judo County. You don't wanna plant anything by the water.
we don't want to obstruct our view of the
water,
lake, so
right.
we're not
Yeah.
planting anything there. On the north and east side, based on orientation, we do plan on having solid wall.
Okay, so
on
the building will have a solid wall on it. But
Yes.
any plan to like eventually plant some trees or?
Not on this, but we don't want it to be ugly, so I mean, once it's
So
up,
you'll do some
we are
landscaping?
more than happy to,
Okay.
add vegetation. I don't know if that, I mean, if you want to make that a condition of approval, you can, obviously, but we don't want it to be ugly. We plan on having
Would
it
you
look
object
nice.
if we made it a condition that you consider appropriate vegetation, to the north and east?
I would suggest that depending on the vegetation, because that whole site is all septic and drainage field.
Okay.
So we wanna make sure nothing is there with big root system that would clog
So if I
that system.
phrased it something like,
Shallow.
appropriate vegetation per land condition or
Yeah,
something like
I
that.
have no problem with that.
But Dan, can you look at your map, though, that you were provided this evening
Yes.
from Lexi, and just look at that too, because I do believe there'd be an option too for vegetation to be placed in other places by other people as well as the business owners.
Right, well, sure, but if we're the ones putting this.
Yes,
together,
exactly.
We wanna be good neighbors, I have no problem.
Absolutely.
With us doing it so it's not ugly
A
and
shared-
or because it improves the sound dampening.
Right.
Absolutely.
Obviously, if you have a septic system out there, you're not planting pine trees on top of the septic.
Yeah, I'm not looking to create new problems, so,
6 foot tall prairie grass.
it's the bamboo field there,
Probably grow rid of septic tanks. All right, thank you.
yes.
I just have some questions, and the plan commission, I know vetted this, but I don't think they noticed that there were some discrepancies between the application, these checklists, so I
Yes.
just wanna,
Yes, we did.
well,
And
I
did-
didn't even point them out what I'm bringing to your attention yet, so what I'm talking about is on number 10, there's music every weekend, music or weddings. And then number 17, when is there music? Most Saturdays,
Yeah.
country.
Yeah, so,
So which is it?
yeah, so we did discuss this, and most of our, events, I mean, most Saturdays, we do have events during the nice weather months. We also have Friday nights, we have some Sundays, we have occasional other nights of the week, depending on time of year. And so, I think there was discussion about, did we understand exactly what the question was asking? Our
Okay.
primary days would be kind of Friday evening to Sunday midday, but, yeah, we plan on being able to use this 7 days a
Anytime.
week during normal business hours.
Okay, so was that, I guess I wanna know, was that understood by planning commission that this could be used any day of the week, year-round, for a music venue? Or was there any consideration of limiting when this music could happen to weekends or something like that? I mean, that's a question that would have to go back to plan commission. I don't know if that was considered, because there's differences on that. I don't know if there was discussion on that.
Excuse me, and I'm going to interrupt. Nick, did I address that question? And we do have the chair of the plan commissioning here. Would it be incorrect to ask her that question? Or Nick, do you want to address that? Because I did make the statement that questions and inaccuracies were questioned and asked and vetted by all commissioners at the open discussion in the beginning and at the public hearing and again before it was passed. Is that a true statement?
There were noted inconsistencies that were pointed out and discussed with the applicant. there was one condition that was placed on their recommendation, and Madam Chair, it's up to you if you'd like to recognize somebody else to speak.
I don't want to put her on the spot, but I don't like being accused of the fact that we did not ask these questions and vetted them at length for over an hour between those two sessions. It's up to Diana if she'd want to speak, but I don't want to put her on the spot.
I can speak,
All right.
and you know I can.
I know, we
I
both
do real
can.
well. I'm Diana Dilge. I'm Chair of the Plan Commission. And yes, we did address all, in fact, I think there were 3, was it 10, 12, and 17?
Just
There
the
were-
discrepancies.
Right, and we asked for clarification on that. And I'm without my notes.
That's correct. So 10, 12, and 17 were the points that
That
I
we,
believe it
we
was,
questioned at length.
the chairwoman of the Plan Commission had pointed out. The relevance of 12 would be that there was times referenced that there were questions on whether that jived with what times were referenced in 17.
And what was the condition we put on there, Nick? Do you have your findings of fact available to you?
Yeah, I had reported that the condition was placed on the recommendation that the orientation of the structure be rotated to have a solid wall to the north and east, to be verified by the building inspector before permit.
Okay.
There's nothing about when the music can play on there at all. So there was no condition on that?
No.
It can be any day of the week?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then as far as the findings of fact, so the condition about hard wall face to northeast before issuance, it says north, it doesn't say north and east side of the building, it just says north.
Northeast.
And the drawing is only on the north side. So see what I'm saying?
He's going
Shouldn't
to
it be north
orientate it
and
because
east?
because he wants to inhibit the sound going
Right,
into the
I understand what he
residential
wants to
area.
do,
So
but
he said that he would be willing to
Shifted as much as
yeah,
shift
allowed
the
by
build, the,
septic.
I understand. I'm just asking that the handwritten words that are on the findings of fact be clear, because I don't think they are. It says north, something scratched off, and then it says east,
it says northeast.
but is it two sides of the building? Is there gonna be soundproofing
Northeast.
on, okay,
Northeast wall
the
of
entire east side of the building? Are you expecting to put
The
soundproofing
northeast.
on the entire east side of that building?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I don't think you are. I think you're expecting to put it maybe on a third of the east side of the building. I'm trying to help you too,
Yeah,
because
what
this
we-
is not clear.
No, I understand. And the part of the lack of clarity, I think, is because we didn't know the exact orientation of where it
Yeah.
would sit on the lot. Because we're trying to minimize taking any trees down, and we're trying to obviously not go on top of our septic field.
Right.
So based on how it ends up sitting, our goal is to block as much of that northeast aspect as we can. And that might be one solid wall if we're facing directly towards the neighbors. And if it shifts a little bit, it might be north and some of the east. We
Okay.
are open to doing as much as we need to prevent noise towards the neighbors, but I really don't want to completely wall off 2 full sides if I can avoid it.
Because the attempt that evening was, and part of the discussion, correct me if I'm wrong, was that they're going to have a solid wall on the one side, but they were positioning the building in such a way it wouldn't impact the septic, but it would help with the sound, and they would do additional barriers if possible to help with the sound, and the sound carries depending on weather,
Yep.
winds, and everything else, so they are doing their best to be a good neighbor. Is that correct, Nick? I don't know what's written in the,
Okay, so
you have to realize too that those notes are written by Taylor the night of the meeting because we need people to sign those, so,
my notes had orientation, which I think does clear up a little bit of
right,
Supervisor Cole's concerns.
Correct.
Because the discussion was that this building be oriented in a way to have the hard wall to be the northeast.
northeast.
And then I think they had talked about the hard wall on one side, some additional like
Paneling,
Sound deadening curtains or
Correct.
something,
or
yes.
curtains, I think is the term you used. But orientation is the word that I think is missing in the
So
notes on
I just think that should be clarified for us and for you, because it's kind of ambiguous right now, the way it's written on this, handwritten. It could, I mean, we can question it, and you can come back and say, we did what you said, we'll say, well, we're not sure what it even says, so that would be my suggestion, if Attorney Flanagan can help to, how to write that condition to be understood by all parties.
And I'll again say that my notes reflect that the orientation of the structure be rotated to have the solid wall to the north and east and be verified by the building inspector before the permit. I think that is far clearer to the point than the wording that is on there. And we can, if you all approve it this evening, you can make that wording adjustment and we can have them re-sign it.
So it sounds like the difference from what you just said to what's on here was the addition of the word "and" between the words north and east.
Well, and the lead-in wording, orientation of the structure shall be rotated. So the issue was, on the map, as they proposed it, just like they had said, they had proposed it, and then there was some discussion at length with the plan commission about how that orients to, you know, to provide that buffer to the residential.
And this map that we got here tonight shows that rotation of the orientation.
Yes.
So roughly, obviously not to scale, but roughly, you know, one of the long walls runs north-south. Well, two long walls run north-south, but one's an open side, and then the other one on the north side, that would be a solid wall.
The northmost wall, that's a short wall, would be solid.
Wait, north is solid? Oh, that's north.
Yes, and this one would be partial.
North, south, east, west. I'm totally screwed up. I was thinking that was west that way. Okay. Never mind. Okay, so the 32-foot side run is a north wall, or a south wall, depending upon which end of the building
Correct.
we're talking about.
And the side that's on the northernmost one of the short wall would be
That
definitely
part,
solid.
okay.
And then the portion of the long wall towards the east could also be
That's west.
solid.
We're gonna do this one.
Okay, but that's the 32-foot wall, that's west.
Yeah.
That's east.
This
That
was
would
their
be-
original
that'd
one,
be
this is not the changed
Yeah, but
one.
it's still the same thing. This would be west, over here towards the water.
Yeah, this is west,
Right. So if that's west, that's east,
east down here.
that would be north,
The patio.
that would be south. This would be the north wall, right?
This is
Yeah,
just
so
your
this,
drawing.
this would be solid, that comes factory
That's
solid.
west, that's west.
And then, you know, depending on how far we can pivot
But
this
this is
way.
west, you don't want west.
This will be, as he stated, will be the fabric and some enclosure with the fabric, sound barrier.
Okay.
And I believe also, board, that we talked about, we'd be putting foam, sound barrier on that back wall also, if it's in that paperwork.
Yes,
There'd be soundboard in
So
this.
it's possible that the
before the
building may
metals
turn
installed.
it may
like
turn
this.
a bit.
Ah, got it.
The
We have a lot of
orientation.
septic going this way, this way, this way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, makes a little more sense now.
Okay, then the other thing that was discussed quite at length at Plan Commission was color of the roof. So you're gonna try to match the blue, which may not be possible, and then there was talk about white, if it's not blue. But I don't think white is allowed in our code. So my thought would be if it can't match the blue, that it should be more of a natural color to blend in with the surroundings rather than white. And that complies with the town code. It doesn't say anything in the findings of fact about the roof color.
You're
Even
correct.
though
We
I know
talked
there
at
was a
length
lot of
about-
discussion about it, but I don't see that in the findings of facts that were signed. So that would just be something I would ask. You've got Culver's blue on the top. If you can't, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. If you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
match that.
Right, we
that
didn't
it-
want to clash blue, you know,
Right,
have a
that it not
baby blue
clash,
with-
because that could be worse.
I believe the plan commission, agreed to allow them to find the best possible match to the blue they currently have of the new roof they put on your main building.
Yeah, we said or white.
Or white,
Was what was
and-
discussed, but if
'Cause
if
this-
that's not allowed, I don't know.
Where in our code does it say that they can't have a white
It's
roof?
a reference to the natural colors.
Natural colors.
But isn't that in the Gateway District, in the Business District? That's,
It's in the business district.
It's in the business district.
It's under the design standards. I believe.
for the Gateway and
Well, under the design standards, which
for the
applies-
business, for the B1,
that would apply to B1, yes.
yeah.
mean, a
Assuming
gray
that-
or something is fine. We just don't, we have to find out what colors are available, and we knew that white was, that's their standard color.
Yeah, I have reached out to with Tom, the old owner, and to get the company that installed the roof on our, business. So I'm waiting for, a response from him so that we can find hopefully the company he used. I know it's a year later, sometimes some businesses change the color patterns, but we'll be hopefully real close to it. It won't be ugly or protruding colors, but we're doing real good diligence to make sure that we are blue.
Yeah, that's the goal, is
Yeah.
to match.
I think if we set a condition that they find the blue as close as they can to the roof that they currently have on their main building,
So we can add that to the findings of fact, so
to
we
their
don't
conditions.
have a white roof. What else did I have? I think the only other thing is, and I don't recall Plan Commission talking about this, is the reason I go to Plan Commission meetings, is sanitary system. You had no discussion about that. So you're talking about 200 to 250 people you estimate could, that's in what's on the form, could fit under the pavilion. And currently, of course, the indoor bathrooms aren't gonna accommodate that, so you have porta potties outside. And I don't think there's any restriction to having porta potties. We use them at other places for events. But is that your permanent solution to, to bathrooms?
I would say it's our short-term to medium-term solution. Longer term, I would like to get, we hopefully will have something built in the vacant acreage that we have that will have bathroom facilities across the parking lot. And then we also would like to get a more, permanent, like a trailer, like the event trailers that you'll see at
Right.
bigger events and concerts, to host, to hold, 8 bathrooms nicer than porta potties. But in the short term, yes, we've got our upstairs bathrooms in the restaurant, we've got downstairs bathrooms, in the locker room area, and we've got the porta potties.
In the short term for that type of events, if you're not having them on a regular basis, there's nothing really that's preventing them from using porta potties, and you pretty well took care of that down at the county.
I didn't say there was
Right.
anything preventing them using
And I
porta
think
potties.
I think we did look
question.
at that at the Plan Commission meeting, that they are not required to have bathrooms for 250 people.
I don't remember a discussion at Plan Commission about it.
Yes, I do.
so. Okay. Just asking the question, because I imagine you'd prefer not to have porta potties also. They're something you have to haul in, haul out, clean. They're not,
And it's less, when you're in the shoreland district,
Solution.
it's less wear and tear, because that was one of the major concerns that your association had with having a septic system in the shoreland close to your homeowners groups. So I guess having them hauled in and hauled out would be less concerning to me as a homeowner for a weekend of music, but I'm just saying. But I do see the importance of a condition for a blue roof to match the building. I do see that, if you wanna agree to some trees for a sound barrier in addition to the ones that we had already agreed to as a condition for a building that's situated in such a way that you already agreed to the sound barriers on the wall. If the homeowners also wanna consider maybe putting in their own sound barrier, that's being good neighbors, so. Did you make a note of all of those for us, Nick?
Well, it hasn't been reduced to a motion yet, so.
I
I've
know,
got
but
some-
you're
I've got
making
some-
a list for us.
I
Did you have
wasn't
any
sure.
other, Supervisor Cole?
just to say that this past weekend, you had a lot of music and it stopped at 10 o'clock and it got quiet. And I don't think anybody called anybody about it. So that's the whole goal of the music and getting along with the community. So thank you for that.
That's the goal, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Did any other supervisors have any conditions or concerns they wanted to raise? So maybe you could, read back the list that we have, or,
Yes, with one exception, I'm not sure that I got a good, documentation on the condition for the, buffer or whatever, because of some of the discussion with some.
I would say that, the condition would be, the property owners will make all good faith efforts for appropriate site-appropriate vegetation to screen the event facility from the residential properties in the area.
And
Leave it
just
open that way, because obviously it depends upon how the building ends up getting.
completely, to clarify
situated.
that, just as we're planning, would you think that makes sense near the building, if space permits, or near the property line? Either or?
Well, I think if you had vegetation in between there, I don't know if it would really matter if it's closer to the building or closer to
To
the
me,
property line,
yeah.
because you'd have sight barrier and you'd have sound barrier.
Right. To me, it should work either way.
I
I'm
think
just
it would, I don't,
thinking.
I really think that would be up to where the septics are versus where the building is versus where somebody says, well, you can't put that plant there because it's on top of the septic tank or,
Right.
or it's
Right.
gotta go
Yeah,
10 feet that way or 10 feet this way.
Yeah.
That's more up to the people that are planting the vegetation.
yeah. The way you're wording it, I mean, it's favorably vague for us to allow the flexibility to do it.
Which I think it needs to be, because
Yeah.
You don't know.
your landscaping company, assuming you have a landscaping company to do this, is going to make the recommendations of, well, okay, this vegetation in this spot.
Yeah.
Because of what's underneath the ground.
Right, what's gonna not die immediately, yeah. No, and that's great, we would be happy to make that good faith effort to put things in that will grow and stay there and provide some buffer.
So you're just talking about the side that is where Dave lives, over on that side?
I would say towards
Dave's house.
north, and then.
Oh, and then where the,
Potentially towards the kind of entrance
the
to
turn house, yeah.
Yeah, towards
The
the
big
circle.
house, we'll call it the big.
Sure,
house.
yeah.
The big
Uh,
house.
Which is kind of more northeast.
Okay,
That's the area that I picture having some screening.
okay,
That's the direction we don't want sound to go.
Right.
I'm not planting anything towards the lake. I'm not planting anything south towards our beach,
okay.
We got hundreds of feet of us, and our main restaurant building blocking sound going in those directions.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna sit.
Okay, you got the vegetation,
And
You
the
got
roof. And
the roof.
I've got vegetation, roof, and an adjustment to the building orientation.
The way you had it worded.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there anything else?
I don't think so. We did receive some email comments from citizens, and some of these things that I brought up were based on some of those comments that were made, so just so people know that when they send emails, they are received and they are looked at and read and taken into consideration. Not always agreed with, but email looked at and read.
Anybody else? Yep.
I move that we approve the site plan of operation for the event pavilion at the at Barnum Bay Marina, with the additional of the following findings of facts. That the building be oriented so that the north and or east sides have appropriate hard walls, as dictated by the orientation of the building once it is sited. That there be good faith efforts to install vegetative barriers between the pavilion and any residential areas in the surrounding areas as appropriate to the land that is, the use of the land that is there. And that the roof color be blue or matching blue if possible to the existing roof on the existing building, and if not, must abide by the zoning code for roof colors in the town of Rome.
Okay. All right,
With only maybe one other suggestion,
Yes.
that the orientation, and hard wall, that'll be verified by the building
Okay,
inspector before issuance.
Thank you, yes. Add that the orientation would be verified by the building inspector before the permit is issued. I assume that probably go with the roof color too, because that's part of the building permit.
yes. And the hard wall was actually soundproofing, the way Dan had said it, correct? Yeah. Well, that Dan. Okay. All right. Anybody want to try and second that?
I'll second.
All right. We got a motion by Dan Minter, second by, or Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Evenson for the consideration of a site plan of operation for Barnum Bay Beach and Marina LLC, doing business as the Lure Bar and Grill to construct an outdoor event structure at 1735 Archer Lane with the conditions listed as,
You want me to read them again? Or just as stated?
as stated and verified by Attorney Nicholas Flanagan. Will that do?
Sure.
All righty. Any more discussion? All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action. Approval of a lamp pole banner policy in the Rome Town Center. This one, Jason, you're up.
You have a copy of the policy in the packet. This was a result of some complaints that we had received regarding banners in the business park, so it would, govern how they are hung with the sign-up procedure and dates, covers the cost of a group wanting to put the banners up. The banners would be limited to nonprofit organizations sponsoring events in town or, seasonal events that would take place similar to the banners that we've always had.
Madam Chair, if I could
Yes,
just,
Nick,
uh,
some things
just-
came up at
Yeah, just
CDA, so if you could share those adjustments,
Sure, I
please.
didn't want to steal anyone's thunder, but this was discussed at the CDA meeting this afternoon, where it was reviewed. There was a recommendation to approve with an additional note that the actual permit application be further supplemented with a map by the zoning administrator to designate the available poles and better aid to locating, where an applicant would want their pole, or banner to be placed.
So the copy of the permit that we had here today, it was decided at our meeting this afternoon that applicants, it'll be added to that permit
There'd be a second page that has a
Second
map
page
with
of
all
the
the
map.
poles
with
numbered.
numbers
Okay.
that Lexi will create. So there'll be no disruption as far as, well, I wanted my flag over here, but you put it over there.
I'll move that we approve policy number 1.18, community banners, with the permit application with the addition of the map where the applicant can designate where they want their banner placed.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Cole, second by Supervisor Evenson for the approval of the lamp pole banner policy in the Rome Town Center with the addition of a map showing, pole location on the permit application. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action, approval of the Class A combination retail liquor licenses for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Dalgen Corp. LLC, doing business as Dollar General Store, number 16744, 229 State Highway 13, Nakusa, Wisconsin, 54457.
There was nothing in the packet on this.
It was separate. They sent it to us, it was,
That's all right.
Jason, all good on?
I didn't see anything
everything
separate,
good?
but I just want to make sure there was something. Okay,
it was confidential this time, it was sent separate.
okay.
I think they always are.
But Cheryl just asked and everything was
It's fine.
A-okay,
Don't
so,
worry about it.
was that a motion, Cheryl?
I move that we approve the Class A combination retail liquor licenses for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025 for the Dollar General Store as stated.
Okay.
Second.
Approval of the let's try it again, Lori. Approval of the Class A combination retail liquor licenses for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th. Motion by Supervisor Evenson, second by Supervisor Minter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item 13, discussion and possible action. Re-engage the Plan Commission Town Center Subcommittee to review recommendations by town contracted specialist Sam A. Schultz, Land Use and Development Advisor, for the update of the Rome Town Center Design Plan and potential recommendation of zoning code amendments, and establish membership as follows: 3 Plan Commissioners, 2 CDA members, 1 developer, Town Zoning Administrator, and the Town Administrator. Nick?
Sure. So I did kind of lead into this at an earlier agenda item, so I won't restate everything, but what we're looking to do is re-engage the subcommittee that was originally formed back in 2018. For those that aren't familiar with that subcommittee, we had formed a subcommittee back in 2018. They actually began their work in 2019 to work on the recommendations that came from an amendment to our Rome Town Center design plan. And so at that time, what was done was a subcommittee was formed to have representatives from both the CDA and the Plan Commission working through the design plan with the idea that we would codify some of those requirements in our actual code. We also at that time sought to streamline certain processes that we had with the town center. We eliminated, for example, the development and design manual and codified that into our ordinance, and it exists then as it does today, rather than sending people to 3 different documents to try to understand what our requirements are for the Rome Town Center. This now would largely parallel where we are with the recommendations that we've received from Sam Schultz, who's the town's contracted land use and development advisor. So if you recall, or were present at the May 14th meeting, Sam Schultz had presented some general ideas and recommendations to address in our town center, both from the standpoint of map, standards, and the design plan. And so the idea then would be that we would re-engage the subcommittee, work with the consultant to then make recommendations to the appropriate bodies, which will include you as well, in any zoning ordinance amendments that would be made.
I just handed out the document that Nick was able to find how the committee was originally formed. There was another subcommittee after that. So this has always been a work in process to keep this constantly being updated. So that's why the thought process was to get this committee going again, to make this happen as quickly as possible. And the thought is to hopefully get this updated within a 4-month period. We don't want to lose sight of the momentum.
I can add CDA met today, and the CDA committee is in agreement with this. And although we don't have the names of the 2 members that would participate today, we would have 2 members participate in the committee.
And that's a good point. The agenda hasn't formally gone out yet, but the Plan Commission also similarly has this on their agenda for an update and possible appointment of representatives for the committee.
More paper.
So will this subcommittee then, as they look at all the different plans, they'll be making potential recommendations for changes to how different parcels, well, probably available parcels obviously, are designated in terms of their potential uses. So like if there was a chunk of land that we were looking at for a potential, I would say a rec facility of some sort, whether that be indoor, outdoor, or whatever, that those types of designations would sort of be included, so that we would sort of know where potential features can be.
I think that's the idea, with the additional note that I think during the presentation there was a general recommendation that we should approach our potential developments with a bit more flexibility, instead of identifying it like we saw today with a sub-district classification, that it might have 1 or 2 sub-districts rather than, I think, 5 or 6 of them, right? And so, yes, there likely would be some analysis on maybe appropriate places for a public semi-public
Public usage.
Yep.
Public parts, okay.
we need a motion for this? Oh, I move that we re-engage the Plan Commission Town Center Subcommittee to review recommendation by town contracted specialist Sam A. Schultz, Land Use and Development Advisor. Not gonna read the whole thing. For update for the Rome Town Center.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Cole, a second by Supervisor Minter for the re-engagement of the Plan Commission Town Center Subcommittee to review recommendations by town contracted specialist Sam H. Schultz, Land Use and Development Advisor for the update of the Rome Town Center Design Plan and potential recommendation of zoning code amendments. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Right. Discussion and possible action. Approval of the finance director position description.
I just provided it to you for review. We did look at this one other time and we didn't take action on it, due to not being at that stage yet. So this is the same document that you were provided a draft version of before.
The only question I had on this is that we have on here reports to the town administrator, town board. And
Similar to my position in my absence, or the absence of a town administrator, that position would report to the town board based on the
Okay.
assistant chief executive officer.
do we want to add that language to it then? In the absence of the town administrator would report to the town board? So that there would be no no confusion or issues at the time or any conflicts? I think it would just be just in the absence, in your absence, so that there would never, ever,
Well, I
never.
think you're, but Lori, sorry to interrupt, I think you're talking about that top one where it reports to the town
Right.
administrator, town board. I think the position would report to the town administrator. Now, in the event that there wasn't a town administrator and he was absent for an extended period of time, then that person's now functioning as the, town administrator, and then the town administrator reports to the town board. I think we could remove the town board from the reports to up
I
at the
think
top.
that, maybe that's what it is. That's where I found it a little
So
bit.
That, if we say reports to town administrator, town board, now we got this person reporting to the town administrator and reporting to us, and that's not gonna end well.
That's where I was going with that. So, but in the job description later on, then it's fine, yeah.
Right, yeah, the way it's written in there, in the absence of the town administrator, that's good, but yeah, get rid of that first, on that third line where it reports to, just reports to town administrator.
Okay, yes.
Just on the header, the caption part.
You agree
okay.
with that,
Sure, yeah.
Supervisor Cole?
Makes sense, yeah.
Okay, but down further, it says will be the town's assistant chief, then we're better. And then appointed in the absence of the appointed town administrator, then it reads fine. So now we're good, yep. Thank you. Oh, but what about though down non-essential functions, performs other duties as assigned by the administrator or town board?
We can strike it there as well if that's your wish.
Because that's covered again back in that other paragraph that we have in the absence of the town administrator. Is that okay, Dan? Yeah, okay, Cheryl, we're good? Okay.
I think that also makes it clear that she is taking duties and is responsible to the town administrator and not to, I mean, if town board members contact you or something, you're reporting to the town administrator directly.
Because we can still contact her and speak to her, but that's her boss.
Exactly.
All right, we got it. So we'll strike that there and up at the reports too, and then it looks really good.
So, are we ready to approve this
Yeah,
tonight? or-
yeah.
The changes have been made.
I move to approve the job description for the town finance director, with the two changes as noted to remove the language regarding reporting to or receiving direction from the town board.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Cole for the approval of the town finance director position description with the striking of town board on the reports to line on the first page and the striking of the town board under non-essential functions on the third page. I think that's clear enough, huh? All right. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. The board will adjourn into closed session pursuant to section 19.85 sub 1 sub C of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Interim Finance Director. Roll call vote. Oh, we need a motion to go into closed session first, please. Starting on my left. Oh, a motion.
I'll move we go into closed session as stated.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Evenson, second by Supervisor Minter to go into closed session. Roll call vote starting on my left.
Evenson, yes.
Minter, yes.
Jumati, yes?
Cole, yes.
Right.
6.
I'm ready.
Oh, I gotta give you your, I'll give you your, oh, I wrote on your agenda, I'm sorry. Alright, I know, I don't know how I managed to lose the other one, but I did it. Oh. Alright, we ready? The board reserves the right to reconvene into open session as authorized by Wisconsin statute, section 19.85, sub 2, and continue with the agenda. Motion, please?
Move that we reconvene into open session, subject to Wisconsin statute.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Evenson, to reconvene into open session as authorized by Wisconsin statute, section 19.85, sub 2, and continue with the agenda. Roll call starting on my left.
Stevenson, yes.
Minter, yes.
Jumati, yes.
Cole, yes.
Okay, and we have a motion?
I move that we appoint Robbie Schaub Roimler as the Town of Rome Finance Director, removing the interim title on her current job.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Evenson to appoint Robbie Schaub Remler? Remler, sorry. Remler,
German in there.
I know, Remler. Remler,
It's an E.
as the Town of Rome Finance Director, removing interim. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I move that the Town of Rome will call a special town meeting of the electors of the Town of Rome, Adams County, pursuant to Wisconsin statute 60.12, 5 p.m. on Thursday, August 1st, meeting to be held in the town boardroom in the Rome Municipal Building.
I'll second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You need a
I'm
purpose?
sorry.
I was
The
gonna
purpose of
say.
said meeting will be to separate the offices of town clerk treasurer pursuant to Wisconsin statute 60.305, to then the appointment of a clerk and a treasurer in separate positions.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Minter, a second by Supervisor Cole, to schedule a special town meeting on Thursday, August 1st at 5 p.m. for the purpose of separating the office of town clerk treasurer pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute Section 60.305 to be filled by appointment as separate statutory positions of clerk and treasurer. Any discussion?
Does it have to say electors rather than town board meeting? I don't know if
Oh.
it matters.
It does.
Oh, a special public,
You didn't say the word electors. I'm
Oh.
just
On the
making
very
sure.
top.
My motion had it her way
Dan
back
did,
as-
but when you reread it, it
Oh.
didn't, if that matters.
No, the motion was for the.
Okay,
Motion was for
perfect.
the special electors.
So we don't.
a special
Go
meeting
at
of
the
the
last
electors.
hour.
Agenda for a special town meeting of the electors.
There we go.
Thank you for the correction.
Oh.
Did you get all of that?
I will.
My little scribe. Okay. All right. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll give you your piece of paper. Any additional?
You'll take that
All
back. Okay.
All right, now continue with. All right. Dates and items for future agendas and meetings. Next agenda items. Okay, we had for July meetings. Our next date is July 18th.
I will be gone the next two meetings. Robbie will be filling in.
Stepping right up to the bat, aren't ya? There you go.
I will be gone
Assistant
July
town-
18th, possibly calling in, but at this point I'll say gone.
Really? Really, you guys? Come on. My goodness.
If
Are
I'm
we,
able, I'll call in, but I'm not sure about that.
Jason, you calling in?
I was thinking wanting an update on the fundraising for the K-9 unit, but maybe we should wait till Jason's back.
All right.
Do that in August. And then also, where are we at the remodel of that community room and kitchen? But I don't know that.
I think,
We'll be working with Tom Lokes on the audio. We haven't done the remodel, but we're gonna get the audio fixed, like I said, before the November, meeting that's in there.
So maybe an update at one of the next meetings would
Sure.
be nice.
I could have Sergeant Upton here while I'm gone. He's doing, kind of in charge of that fundraising to
Okay,
give you an
well then
update.
let's have a canine fundraiser update and a canine pricing update if we have any more details.
Yeah, that kitchen remodel has been hanging around for a long time. It's like, let's do it. Do it or not do it. Have something decided on that.
okay, and I should have some more, information for you had asked for a training update. Plan Commission is moving forward. We have, quite a list of topics. We're looking at actually getting surrounding communities together, because they've got quite a list of items that are on their forefront and, that they're tackling, and it was actually something Nick and I had been talking about, so we're putting out a little survey. Lexi's helping me with that. We've got quite a few pieces of information, so that's pretty exciting. People from UW, Madison, and Stevens Point, so we'll have some updates on that. And see if there's other communities that want to spend some time with us in doing that. Anybody else?
Well, related to that canine thing, just would want to know what's the current status of our CAN fund and current status if we have any monies that have come back from the ARPA funds. But I don't think we have any right now.
I think
that
we
are engaged.
expended all of that, right? Or we have a
Spent
little bit?
Until We Energy sends us money back, okay. But CAN fund would be good to know based upon my.
Oh, yeah, ARPA credits, and they really are working. Those projects are really coming along for We Energies. They're out there laying lines. Okay.
Will the CDA subcommittee automatically be on the next agenda, or should we have an update on that? Because we have to, that isn't formed yet.
So the subcommittee doesn't need to come back.
Okay, or any update
So
on it?
we've approved forming or re-engaging that subcommittee, so it's just a matter of designating the individuals. We don't need to update that at this point. We do have one pending approval from the Plan Commission. We have one ordinance item that would be on there, and then not this next meeting, because I think it's probably going to be August 1st, but we will have at one of our future meetings the CDA bylaws and the ordinance related to the CDA. We've been making some adjustments to that. But we're going to take the ordinance back to the CDA before we put it on the agenda.
Okay. Then I'm sure the rest of this will build out because our next Plan Commission meeting is July,
Our Plan Commission is next Tuesday.
that's right. It's
July
early
9th.
this year. Oh goodness, this month.
So by what date do you want the names of the CDA members, and who are those names given to?
So I think you can give those to the administrative support specialist or zoning administrator maybe
Okay.
to at this time compile.
Okay.
And we'll do the same from the Plan Commission and then can
And
start working on
who's-
scheduling.
Determining the developer.
Well, it's pretty well been already requested of somebody to join us through the Plan Commission, and
So I don't know if, I guess we haven't figured that part out yet.
but we've.
Please give them to me.
Who?
Okay.
To you? So some Plan Commission is determining who the developer is going to be, or who's
Yes.
deciding who the developer will
The
be?
Plan Commission.
Okay.
All right, and I guess the rest of this will build itself out. Okay, the next meeting date and time is July 18th at 5 p.m. Meeting adjourned.